Okay, so I'm with Sinead here today. We're going to do anaerobic threshold interval training. So Sinead's 21. Yep. She's 162 centimeters short, and she's 63.5 kilograms. Yes, her exercise history, she's 3 years of non-stop running. Yes, you heard me. Her current training is she's getting ready for, in 5 weeks, or what? Yeah, she's getting ready for a half marathon. So she's doing 3 runs a week currently, no other training. So for on her maximal test for her VO2s, she scored 40. And that was minute 9 at 7 miles per hour for there. So like I said, we're doing anaerobic threshold interval training. And the reason we picked this was because her VO2 max rating is good. And the idea is we want to avoid her from getting tired out, like burned out near the end of her race. So that's why we decided to do this. This will help her system in becoming more efficient in removing lactate, and therefore allowing her to feel less burned out near the end of her race. So as we're about to go into her training here, so we got her training intensity. Her anaerobic threshold is 4.6 miles per hour, so for our working interval, it's going to be 10% above that, so we're going to have her 5.1 miles per hour for her working intervals, and then for her relief intervals, we're going to drop it 10% of her anaerobic threshold, so that will be 4.1.
Okay.
So I'm here with Sinead here. We're doing a warm-up for our anaerobic threshold interval training. We're just going to go for 5 minutes here. Just going to keep track of her heart rate and her RPE throughout the exercise. We have her at 3 miles per hour, and her heart rate right now, let's get her to take her heart rate. And her heart rate is currently 105. So we're just going to keep it at 3.5 for 5 minutes, and then from there we'll bump it up to her workload here. Okay, so we're finished with the warm-up here. We're going to have Sinead work at 5.1 miles per hour. That's 110% of her anaerobic threshold. So this is her first workload here. We're going to be doing a total of 4 intervals, so 3 minutes at 110% of her anaerobic threshold, and then 3 minutes, the following 3 minutes at 90% of her anaerobic threshold for her relief period, and then we'll go back to the next interval. So we're going to start you off at 5.1. Do this for 3 minutes, recording her heart rate and RPE every minute. We start at 6:30. Okay, 30 more seconds. This and 147 is her heart rate. She's alive. Okay, so we're done her workload here for Sinead. So we're dropping her down to 4.1 miles an hour. So 1 mile an hour, dropping her down to 90% of her anaerobic threshold.
I'm sorry, I hit
Okay, we had a slight malfunction. Hold on, we're going back up again.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. We're keeping the muscles working. Okay, had a little bit of a machine malfunction there. So we're on our first minute of relief here. So like I said, 90% of her anaerobic threshold. So she's at 4.1 miles per hour. Your heart rate, please. Her heart rate was 161 at the end of her third minute there for her workload. Her heart rate rate has dropped down now from 161 to 141, and your RPE.
6.
Wow, her RPE is staying stable. Okay, let me know when you're ready. Okay, so we're done our relief period here. So her heart rate was 142, RPE 6 still. So we got her into her second interval now, back to 5.1 miles per hour. And we're going to continue this for another 3 minutes before her next relief period. Left in our first minute here of our second interval. Six? You have it there again?
And 160.
And her heart rate has gone up from 142 to 160 here. Alright, and okay, so here we're starting our relief period here now for our second interval. So we're dropping Sinead back down to 4.1. Her heart rate for her last workload minute there was 165. Then RPE 7. So yeah, we're back down to 90% of our anaerobic threshold now for 3 minutes. How you doing?
Good.
Good. She's doing good. 2 thumbs up. Yeah. Alright. Let's take your heart rate and your RPE, please.
7.
And we're up 7. 1, 2, 7. Machine malfunction again. Does 2 seconds, and her heart rate is at 149. Okay, so here we're starting our third workload now. We're done our third interval. We're done our second interval relief period. So we're gonna bump Sinead back up to 5.1 once again. 2 more intervals left here. So back up to 110% of her anaerobic threshold. Her heart rate for her last minute there was
134.
134. And her RPE was probably 7.
Yes.
Yes. Making some solid progress there. Okay. Lovely day outside, isn't it?
Yes. It is.
Alright, step on right up. Can I get your heart rate, please? And your RPE?
7.
Maybe we'll get 8 next time. Stay tuned. Okay, heart rate.
I don't think that's right.
Yes, her heart rate will stay is approximately 158. Back up. Okay, so we're still on our third interval here. Sinead finished at 174 for a heart rate and an RPE of 8 for her last workload. So we're bumping her back down to 4.1 for her relief period for her third interval. And yes, we're at 90% of her anaerobic threshold again. Second last interval. Alright, grab your heart rate there. And your RPE.
Like a 9.
Okay, so RPE at 9 for the first minute there and 161 for heart rate. Up her third interval really. Okay, so we're done our third interval there for Sinead. Her heart rate was 149, RPE 9. So So we're starting her fourth interval here. So bump her back up to 5.1, sorry. 110% of her anaerobic threshold. And it is getting harder. Her numbers are going up now. Now we just have a relief period, our last relief period. It's interval after. We got 150 for her heart rate, and she's in an RPE of 10 for her last workload. Okay. Heart rate here, and her RPE of 10.
Yeah.
I see some little sweat coming down there.
And 160.
That's what I like to see. Okay, so we're on our last relief period here for her first relief minute of her last interval here. So yeah. Yes! Of course, we're dropping her back down to 4.1. What was I thinking? Never do that to your client, of course. But it is a good way to shock the system because they don't see it coming. Okay. 30 seconds left. Okay, heart rate has dropped from 168 to 157 in your RPE.
Like a 9.
And we dropped down from 10 to 9. Very good. She's normal. Okay, so we're done the rest of our last interval here for the relief period. So we're doing an active cool down now. So we're going to drop Shanae down to 3 miles per hour. Her heart rate is 150 currently. And your RPE, Shanae? Okay, so we're going to have her at 3 miles per hour here for, we'll probably go for about 5 minutes here to bring her heart rate back down to a normal heart rate. And then we're good to go. Okay, so here we're on our 5th minute, our last minute of cool down. Shanae's heart rate has dropped down from 150 to 130, 129, and it's still dropping. RPE?
6.
Okay, we're back down to 6 for her RPE. So our active cool down's done now, and we are ready to call it an evening. Or an end of the night, or end of the session. End of something, whatever. The end.